back and I start counting the members, start counting the staff members. I mean, we had close to 50 dadgum staff members, 50. And the Democrats had just as many. So, and then you figure, oh, well, you don't have to have a crooked congressman or senator. You just need a couple staff members that control the bill. And how many times have I heard a chairman say, you'll read about this in my book, but how many times have I heard a chairman say, oh, I couldn't do that, Tim. Staff just wouldn't allow it. Who elected the dadgum staff?
Right.
And that is where the problem lies. Your staff members, you've got some members, not all of them. The vast majority of them are super patriotic young people. You got some that have been around for a while, and, you know, they're the ones you see in the movies, you know, where they're, you know, it's not the president meeting with the lobbyist or whatever having the martini. It's the staff member.
Yeah, it's the wag the dog
And then they go on
the
Codels and they go on the trips and they get compromised. And let me tell you how compromising works. It's pretty easy. There's a couple of different methods. There's one, the old Russian trick called the honeypots. You're in a town somewhere, maybe in overseas, and they know what you're into, and maybe some attractive.
Eric Swalwell.
Do what?
I said Eric Swalwell.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's old school. Come on. Hey, let Jesse rob this train. All right. Let me get to this. You're from Tennessee, right? You're a
Yes,
Tennessee
sir.
girl.
I am. I went to University of Tennessee in Knoxville. I did. Yes.
Rock on. Did you
So
know
you
my
talk
dad?
about- you talk about
my dad
Kingston
was-
Pike,
My dad
I'm
was
like-
deep. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I said, you talk about Kingston Pike, and I'm like, I know exactly what he's talking about. I have been there,
All right,
driven on that
Cumberland Avenue
road.
Strip.
Uh-huh.
What was the big honky tonk on the strip when you were there?
Well, we used to go to the Lap and the library, and the library was a really great bar that you could call home, and your parents would be like, "What'd you do tonight?" You could say, "I went to the library," and then it wasn't a lie.
Stop. One of my oldest friend in the world, Scott Davis, owned the library. We were
Are
Tony
you
brothers.
serious?
Yeah,
Oh my
Scott's
gosh.
one of those. He's one of my.
Well, tell
He's
him
either-
that I made a lot of great memories in that place because, yeah, great
Probably
place.
lost some memories there too.
Exactly.
In the Lap, of course, everybody's been to the world famous Lap. The guy that owned the
Yes.
Lap was a friend of mine, an older guy, and he now owns a restaurant down there on Emory Road near my
It's
house.
changed
Anyway,
a lot. Knoxville's changed a lot over the past 20,
not for the
25
best,
years.
though.
Yeah.
Cumberland Avenue's gone, as far as I'm concerned. It's,
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll get into that later. Anyway, but I digress. Staff. So you get the honeypots. You know, you get some good-looking girl walks up and is laughing at your jokes, and you buy her a drink. And next thing you know, you're in your motel room with her naked, and then they got a picture of you, and they own your ass.
Right.
And,
Oh my God! How
and-
often is that happening?
Well, I don't know. The Russians, they did so much with the Russians, they called it honeypots.
Yeah.
But anyway, let me finish here. So I don't know how much that happens now, but I will tell you this. I was on a podcast called The Benny Show.
Yeah.
And, and Benny's kind of a buddy of mine.
Uh-huh.
He laughs at all my jokes and gets tickled and says nice things about me. But he and I talked about that, and people, oh my gosh. When I told that story, people in Congress just went ballistic. You know, I can't believe you said that, Burchett. Okay, well, dude, if you're not messing around on your wife or your girlfriend, you don't have to worry about it. Because
Exactly.
if they come to you and you're getting ready to make a key vote, and then somebody whispers in your ear, "Hey, man, how you gonna vote on this?" I'm for this thing. Man, I really wish you're against this. And they said, "No, I can't do that." And then you just say, "Hey, were you in a motel room with a girl in Taiwan or something?" And they go,
Oh
yeah, I
my
was.
gosh!
Oh man, I don't want that out. And then they say, "Oh, it won't get out, dude. Just help us with this vote." "Oh yeah, whatever you want." Then they don't want to own you. They just rent you. And the other way they do that, and what happened was, I was on the Benny Show and I talked about that. Oh, I got blistered by members of Congress. Said, "I can't believe you said that." And again, I said, if you're not doing it, don't worry about it. Well, that week, a prostitution ring was busted in Washington, D.C. And guess who they were? Chinese.
Oh my gosh.
And they released it in the press. There was a big splash one day, and it said there were three groups of people. There were influential Washingtonians, government contractors, and elected officials. The next week, where's the black book? Everybody wants the black book. Next week, the story disappeared.
What?
So,
How?
yeah, well, anyway, you get powerful people, the checkbook comes out, and and they own your
It's so
ass. That's
shady.
exactly
It is. It
okay,
is
the
a
other
sewer.
way,
It's a
the other
shady
way
sewer.
they do it
Yeah.
is jobs. You don't think some multi-billion-dollar corporation could not give some influential person's wife, daughter, son, whatever, a consulting job, a no-show consulting job,
Yeah.
and and that's why
If you are looking to do something different with your kids' education that is not the public school system or private school system, look into Freedom Project Academy. Even if you just want to supplement this, it's just an awesome, awesome place. Freedomforschool.com is where you can go to get more information. Save 15% off all courses with code CHICKS15. I love this place.
It's pretty cool.
If I were going to homeschool, this is where I would go.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
the Democrats fought me last week on the NGOs, the non-government organization. I was trying to defund the Taliban. They wanted to take the NGO portion out. And we're giving the Taliban $40 million a week. We can talk about that later in the show. And I've been working on that over a year to get that out. And I'm just embarrassing people is all I'm doing now. And I want you to know I'm not suicidal. So if y'all find me tomorrow with 14 holes in the back of my head, I did not commit myself.
We know you are not. We absolutely know that.
Wait, I have to ask, is there any hope? Like, because everything you're saying seems so doom and gloom. What do regular Americans do with this information?
Besides drink.
Well,
right. Like, how are we supposed to react to this?
Right.
You pray, ask God to save our country. Because, I mean, literally, it's almost demonic to think that I got people protesting me in Knoxville, Tennessee that want funding for all, transgender shows and things like that. When people are going without food and up in upper North Carolina still don't have electricity. I think they're getting it hooked up now that Trump got in office.
Mm-hmm.
But after Hurricane Helene, we lose track of things too, ma'am. It's so moving so fast. Doge, the government, President Trump puts these executive orders in, and I have a saying that Americans want their pizzas in 30 minutes or less.
Yep.
That's about our dadgum attention span.
Yeah,
and
that's how.
I'm guilty of that. We just move on to the next train wreck. Oh, there's a shiny object over there. When I was mayor of Knox County, I used to say, there's going to be another wreck on the interstate tomorrow, guys. And what that meant was, we're going to catch some heat today, but tomorrow we're going to, there'll be something else.
So
Not
true.
that I want another wreck or anything, but that is our attention span, and that's where we are as Americans. And we've got to stay focused. We've got to, this Doge stuff, these cuts, electing honorable people, it's got to happen. It's got to happen in both parties. The Democrats have been hijacked. I mean, it's almost a demonic force, in my opinion. And some of the things that they're, castrating little boys,
right,
going down.
Boys and girls,
a suspected gang member who's actually was in trouble for beating his wife. I mean, she's claiming now it didn't happen, but there's some pretty damning court evidence. And in our own state of Tennessee, he was caught in a van or a vehicle hauling people that were obviously non-Americans with an invalid driver's license.
Unbelievable.
And the FBI apparently was told the Tennessee Highway Patrol, and I know the Tennessee Highway Patrol. I was a state legislator for 16 years and worked closely with them and legislation, and they're honorable men and women, very patriotic, very straight-laced kind of folks. And I can guarantee that be a real morale killer when you had somebody you knew was illegal, you knew was trafficking people, and they weren't allowed to follow the law.